am driving today, so I'm going to be limited unless I get a stop sign or I can pull over if I see a lot of people get on and we get a good chat going. But there, okay, reconnected. The deadlines that we have and the stress that deadlines bring. And I know that all too well. If you're new to the broadcast, I'm Maria Rupka. I am the founder of Stress Busters, and the reason why I like to teach about stress is because I am a recovering stress addict. I feel like stress is the #1 factor in illness and disease because our body cannot recover from all of those stress responses that we put on ourselves. Stress is a perceived pressure sometimes. Sometimes it's real. Sometimes we do have a real stress that we have to deal with. But in our society and in this day and age, we put on ourselves a lot of expectations and a lot of just things that don't really need to be there, that cause us to feel this stress response. Now, if you're watching your daughter or your son, your little toddler playing in the yard and they run out into front of a car, your stress response needs to kick in. It needs to be on its game. All of those things in our body that stop us from being in that situation as a victim and being in that situation as somebody that can conquer that situation is important. And if your toddler's running out in front of a car, but we put stress on ourselves when we go to the grocery store and they don't have our type of bread that we use. We're like, oh my God, what's good? If I come home with the wrong bread, my family's gonna fuss. Well, those kind of stresses cause the same exact response. Believe it or not, those are the same exact responses that the toddler running into the street causes our body to do. And when we get those responses over and over and over again in our lives, our immune system gets weakened, the adrenaline gets spiked up, the hormone cortisol floods our body like incredibly, which has got so many bad things to it, and we kind of get weakened over time. And so I want you guys to know that this is a passion of mine to kind of help you reduce and live less stressed. So what do we have to do? First of all, we have to understand that it's sometimes perceived that we're in danger when we're not. We have to start to use some strategies like breathing, changing our expectations to appreciation, understanding that we are, it's not all about us, and sometimes life is life, and we're gonna get through it. We have to change our thinking in the moment that it happens, and into a point where we're not looking at the bad and what's not happening, but what is happening. So a lot of things we can do, and under the video section I go into depth about what stress does, how to fix it in your life, what kind of strategies can you put into place. So go into those videos, watch them if you are feeling stressed, because one, if you understand why you don't want that stress response happening all the time, what it's doing to your body, you'll be more empowered to actually implement the strategies, right? So I do come in this group once a week. We kind of have a topic and we talk about it, and I let you guys share with me your biggest stresses, and these stresses are what I'm going to use in the next few weeks. And this week was about deadlines, so I'm going to get to that topic right now because I was a school principal for many years, and even before that as a teacher and as a student. Some of you are taking college classes at night. Some of you are just trying to get the kids through high school or middle school. There's a lot of deadlines that you feel put on this pressure. And it does. I try just keeping up with Janelle's middle school newsletter and what's due. I think I'm actually late on one of the payments for her Keys trip. Now that I'm telling you this story, I think it's, well, actually maybe it's due July 1st. I'm not sure. But this is something that happens to us because there's so much going on, and we have more going on because we're living enriched lives. You know, there's a lot of excitement to happen and to experience, but with that comes a lot of responsibilities and deadlines. So I remember going to school and having, you know, those term papers and those reports due, and sometimes I would wait till the very last minute. Honestly, I would wait and stay and pull an all-nighter to get something accomplished that was due the next day. I might have had 3 weeks notice for it, but it was obviously one of those last minute things. Welcome, Janet. But we want to talk about what to do to relieve some of the stress with the deadlines so that that doesn't happen. And I was young, you know, working and crashing at one night or a couple of days to get this huge responsibility paper done was kind of the only thing I knew to do to survive. But now that I'm older and more wise, I can tell you a few things that can help you with your deadlines. First of all, and foremost, I want you to think about what kind of deadlines you have. Because if you have deadlines for things that are not aligned with your values, or you have deadlines for things that you don't enjoy, you need to look deeper at that. It's okay once in a while to have a responsibility or something that really pushes you over a little bit. But if it's happening all the time, it's important to reflect on that and to see if there's something different you could be doing so that you don't have that responsibility of a deadline for something you don't even enjoy. That's important. I reflected on that a lot when I was thinking about what can I say to you guys that would really help with the deadlines. And that came to me because I think it's important to be causing ourselves to be responsible for things that are moving us forward and that we enjoy. So if the deadlines that you're encountering that bring you pressure and stress are not enjoyable or don't align with what you believe in because you're doing things for other people or you're doing things that really don't jive with who you are, you have to evaluate that. You want to make sure that that is something that doesn't happen often, okay? And evaluating that is not easy, but it is something that you should definitely think about. And then when we do have all that perfect and we have a good life and we're doing a job or doing something for someone that we enjoy and it is aligned with who we are, we're still gonna have deadlines. We're still gonna have responsibilities. I really want Janelle to go to the Keys with her class. I mean, there's no doubt that that is something that I want, but I still have deadlines. I have responsibilities and payments, and I had to do an application and all that stuff. There are things that I had to do to make that happen. So even when you enjoy something, you end up having to have deadlines that put pressure on you. And part of the reason why we're stressed about that is we're unorganized. We don't have a good calendar to know when things are supposed to be done, and then we procrastinate. We put off to the last minute what should be done yesterday to prepare us to be in a good place and have some of it conquered. You know, they will say to do a big project in smaller phases so that you could actually feel like you're accomplishing things. So when you have a big project and you have a deadline that of course aligns with your values, you want to look at that whole thing, take a few minutes to say, what will it take me to accomplish this? And then break it into pieces that are manageable. Don't be like I did and, you know, pull the all-nighter to get the term paper done. That is where the stress happens. The stress happens because we're unprepared and we procrastinate. So take the big project, the deadline, whatever that might be. It might be an event you're planning. It might be a party you're throwing. If the end date is there and you know what your responsibility is to accomplish that, if it's a report for work, again, a party that you're planning, figure out what will it take to get me to succeed at accomplishing and reaching that deadline. And when you can look at that whole picture, you can break it up into smaller pieces. So, example, let's just say you were throwing a baby shower for someone. Obviously the date of the shower is, 2 months from now. What is your role in accomplishing that successfully? You might be responsible for everything, or maybe you have a certain role that you're taking care of. I have to do this, I have to do that, I have to do that. Then look at a calendar. Look at a calendar that takes you through the 2 months. What do I need to reflect? What do I need to have done within a week of that, or 2 weeks of that? And when do I have to get that accomplished prior to doing it? When you are prepared and you plan, you will be less stressed. What happens is we actually forget things. We don't call the balloon people, or we don't call the caterers in time, and then we get, I'm sorry, we can't do that. That's not enough time for us. So that stress comes on because we're not prepared and we haven't planned for an appropriate timeline. So reducing stress and living less stressed with deadlines. 1, make sure your deadlines are something that you feel is important to you. Make sure if you are getting a lot of deadlines that don't match your values or aren't serving you because you're not, enjoying them, or it's not providing you an income, then you need to think about that. Then 2, figure out what it is your responsibility to get that done, and spread it out over time. Don't procrastinate. Put in pieces one at a time to get a little bit done over time, because rushing to get something done serves us more frustration and stress. And a lot of us have a lot of things going on, so it is huge to organize. I know for me, I have deadlines I put on myself for some goals and expectations I have for the business, and when I do that, it's great, it aligns with my value, but it's so much to keep track of and so much to organize. And if you expect more out of who you are, then you have to step it up and maybe turn off the TV and plan out your week. Plan out what you're going to accomplish by now, or Wednesday or Friday, so that you don't wait till the very end to push yourself to get your deadline done and cause that stress response. So I hope that helped someone today. You guys are amazing. I'm so grateful for the Stress Busters group. If you are interested in a more more intense direct connection with stress and strategies, you can go to bustthestress.com and sign up for that 21-day challenge. You guys have a great day.